Hey, Cree here. And I just wanted to talk about my experience so far using the law of assumption, or more like conforming to the thought process of moving with the law of assumption, like in my life. Um, Basically, I started really researching the law maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It's probably like four now, 4 weeks ago. And it's been interesting. It's been an interesting mind shift because, just like with any belief in law, like you have to do a mind shift. And sometimes that can be quote unquote more difficult than like doing physical shit. Um, but I've been training my brain to like program itself essentially for forever. So it's not as difficult than someone who's like just getting into like spiritual shit. But so yeah, what possessed me to start moving with the law of assumption in mind, and also by extension self concept, because I feel like law of assumption and self concept really, like, in my experience right now, I feel like I need both, like they complete each other. But yeah, it was about 4 weeks ago, and I was just asking the universe for answers. I was asking the universe, I was asking my ancestors, just, you know, any spirit on my side who's listening for the answers. And I was just, on YouTube as people do, and came across law of assumption. And I already knew of law of assumption, but I never actually intentionally put it into practice. And so it just came to me like, okay, I'm gonna see what this is about. And as I was watching someone like really talk about it, it was really resonating. It seemed really simple and really straightforward. Your assumptions make your reality. And I was like, you know what? Okay, that tracks. I remember times in my life where I've just assumed things and they happen, like, a lot. It was good and bad stuff, because technically it's all neutral and you put the label on it. But yeah, I just was like, okay, I was already kind of doing it, to be honest. Like, for example, when I would go out and do, like, like deliver or something like that, like some food, I will purposefully keep in mind like these ideas, like a self concept of myself, and thus then assume things. So it's like, okay, I'm coming in here. I look good. I feel good. I present myself a certain way. I'm more likely to receive good treatment and maybe even free things. And that's what happened. And so, like, that's just on a little small scale. Or I guess technically there's no big and small. Again, it's all neutral, but like that was even before looking into the law of assumption. So as I've been researching it for the small time that I have intentionally, I've noticed a lot more things happening for me. And it's been interesting. And it's been work. It's work. It's a lot of journaling, meditating, and paying attention to yourself and being aware. And like, those are all the typical like spiritual things. But like, I don't know. I feel like some people like call themselves spiritual, but it's more so of belief than practice. And I don't knock that. But like, it just is what it is. But when it comes to law of assumption, it's you have to like purposefully program your mind away from the things that you previously thought, like, and like very first and foremost, before even like that, you have to be aware of any negative thoughts that you might be having, because people walk around every day all day and are not aware of even their like most basic thoughts that are keeping them down, and at the same time wonder why their life feels like shit. And that's just a shame. That's just a shame. So it's like you don't want to be like that, especially if you consider yourself spiritual, because it could all be so simple. In a sense, it's difficult to get used to the constant practice of awareness, but it it's not impossible. Like, you simply just have to make, like, you have to make it. You have to make the time to become aware. And in my experience, that has been journaling and meditating. But at the very least, journaling. I journal just about every day. Sometimes I miss a day, but like most days in the week, like maybe 6 days out of the seven, 5 or 6 days out of the seven, I'll be journaling. And it doesn't even have to be a whole lot. Another thing you can do is talking to yourself, like audio recording. Literally anything that forces you to reflect on your thoughts, even if even if you don't like them. Because there have been plenty of times where I've sat in meditation when I felt like absolute shit and I did not want to sit there and essentially review my thoughts. I have been I've been having panic attacks, and like I will just sit and force myself to meditate, because at the same time, what else are you going to do? What are you going to do? Scroll through YouTube, scroll through Instagram? Like, you're if you're not sitting and reflecting on your negative thoughts, you are distracting yourself. And you make that choice whether you want to or not, because you're going to choose to do one thing or the other. So I say that to say, when it comes to this law of assumption shit, you got to be aware. You have to prioritize your becoming of awareness. And another aspect as well is purposefully programming your mind. So after the awareness, no, it doesn't have to be after. Like, it's like a back and forth thing. It's definitely not a rigid thing, and everybody's journey will look different. But I just think awareness is the most important. But after that comes, like I said, programming your mind, and you can do that in multiple ways. I personally have been enjoying the the act of listening to affirmations. You can listen to subliminals too, but I personally like affirmations because I can actually hear them and recite them in my head. And if I do listen to subliminals, I'm still also listening to affirmations for the most part. But yes, someone else being able to say these things outside of yourself, for me, has been very important, especially given my life experience of just negativity all around me in the past. And I personally am still looking for having people in my life who who do their best, like myself, to opt for the positive. You may even call it delusional, but me personally, I call it manifesting. I call it making my reality. And that's not to say I won't talk about like negative stuff, but like it's about what you focus on most of the time. and with intention. But yeah, programming your mind. So affirmations, listening to affirmations, affirming to yourself. I've looked up affirmations and I've done things like say them like while I'm listening to something, or I will journal them. So I'll just write positive affirmations in my book, literally. I'll wake up writing positive affirmations. I'll go to sleep writing positive affirmations. That is you programming your meat slab. You're programming this thing purposefully. Because I look at it another way, and you know how, when people are looking at TV, I want to say so bad back in the day. People still look at TV, but like, they used to call them programs. They were literally programming your mind with cable TV, and like everything in your life is attempting to program you. Think about all the ads you receive. Think about all of the like you can't go outside without seeing like a brand, especially McDonald's, like McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, like all of these things. Like there's so many things in life that are there purposefully to hijack your mind on some real shit. Like companies do that purposefully. Everyone is vying for your attention. And what you want to do in this world where everyone else is trying to put something in your mind, you want to take control of that. You can't exactly help that other people are trying to hijack your shit. But at the very least, you can attempt to override that as much as you possibly can. That's how I feel. So, how I combat that? Affirmations. Listen to affirmations, journaling affirmations, and not even affirmations, but just like get in the mode. I try to script. I feel like personally, I'm a little weird with scripting. Scripting doesn't feel, I'm on and off with scripting, feelings wise, but I still do because at the end of the day, it's really about the attempt at feeling your energy positively. Pay attention also to what you're watching and what's coming up on your feed. Like on like me personally, I'm more on YouTube than anything else these days. I don't be on Instagram like that, and I don't be on Twitter like that. I'm mostly on YouTube, not Twitter, TikTok. I don't even give Twitter the time of day. But Instagram and TikTok are the main ones that like are in my life, but like I don't be on them like that. But when it comes to your feed, look at what it's feeding you. Like shit. Like quite literally, it's a feed. You're being fed with shit. And with that, you gotta know what to click not interested on. It was a time where like anything would come on my feed and I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I just let it slide. But what you really want to do is you want to control that as much as you can. For example, a few days ago, maybe a week ago, I was just scrolling through my feed on YouTube trying to find something. And there was this like reel that popped up, and it was very uncharacteristic of my feed because it's going to sound so boring and simple, but it's these small things. Basically, it was a reel of this like fat, queer looking guy from the South, and he was like mixing a bunch of stuff together that looked like the epitome of that shit is going to kill you if you eat it. It was like some ice cream Oreo cookie situation with like soda mixed in, and like it was horrible for your health. And so there was a guy replying to the reel essentially. So you know how people do that, the filter of them cropped out over someone else's video talking. He let the video play and then he started talking shit about the guy eating whatever it was he was eating. And he was just like just talking about how fat he was and how like he shouldn't be eating that, and like he was just joking and stuff. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't like that. I feel like it's too negative for like absolutely no reason. Like it makes me I've always had an aversion anyways to like senseless bullying. Even as a kid, I was just like, what is this for? So like this is a grown man talking about another grown man. And well, I don't even know if that identifies as a man, but either way, grown person talking about another grown person, and like it's like I don't want that. I don't want to see that. And it's literally somebody making a joke at someone else's expense. I don't like that. So not interested. Like don't put that on my feed. Like I said earlier, it's very uncharacteristic of my feed because I purposefully tailor my feed to not show me certain stupid shit. At least for me, that's really fucking stupid shit. I hate that shit. And like I just don't like senseless negativity. And like I said earlier, you can't do that with absolutely everything in life. But doing it where you can means a lot in this world filled with negativity being shot at you left and right. And because these things, they can affect your self concept, they can affect what you assume out of your life and about other people. And ultimately, that will affect what your life looks like. Like I said earlier with the law of assumption, your assumptions, your self concept, that is what makes your reality. And all in all, you want to be aware of all of these things and tailor things purposefully to ensure your control over your reality. And so, with that, I feel like it is understated how important it is to truly pay attention to all of these things, everything going on, because there are so many people just like walking around and feeling bad for themselves and sorry and saying that shit's out of their control. And I personally feel like, yes, there's plenty in life that is not in your control, but there's also plenty that people overlook that is in their control. You have full control, absolute full control. If over nothing else, you have full control over your perception of things. And your perception of things makes or breaks a lot of things in your life. It's it's scary to really think about how unaware most people are. But I say all that to just I need to come back to my original point, which is just my experience with law of assumption and self concept since I've been learning about it. And like I said, there's a lot in life I'm noticing. For one thing, I'm noticing a lot of synchronicities, a lot of them. And I'm choosing to believe that that means I'm on the right track. That's just my choice. And even that is a controllable perception. I'm choosing to believe that those synchronicities mean I'm on the right track. Alternatively, I could choose to believe that that means something bad is happening. And that could literally lead to whatever other thing I don't want. I could get anxious, start panicking. But even then, if I did choose to believe that I'm not on the right track, I could still choose to react in a way that is not negative and just continue to look forward to, okay, then what is the answer? What does feel right? You know? And there's layers to this shit. There's layers to this shit. Cause I feel like that sounded like it didn't make no sense. But like, God, I hope that's understandable. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of synchronicities. And what else? Just things working out for me when I'm faced with situations that most people would perceive as negative. And what I've learned to do in those situations is to calm my system. There is there is great importance in staying calm and staying neutral in situations that we would usually perceive as bad. They might even be undesirable, but at the end of the day, it's important to see them as not really actually bad. For example, my starter stopped working in the middle of a dash or me delivering food last week or the week before. I think it was last week. And I was like, oh shit, that sucks. On top of that, I was already kind of lacking in funds because I wasn't um I wasn't as active the week before that because I was doing other stuff. So I was like, okay, well now my starter wants to go out on me this week. That's great. Sarcasm. But ultimately, that happened and the old me would have went into a panic. I would have been like, oh no, the person on the other end is going to think, I'm irresponsible. Uh, and I was supposed to get my oil changed too. And I was like, my boyfriend had been told me I should be getting my oil changed. I was like, oh my God, he's going to like, you think I'm irresponsible as shit. And I was like, I'm not going to like, the day is going to be ruined. And like, old me would have said all types of shit like that. But new me, with the knowledge that I was building up with the law of assumption and my self concept, stay calm. I try to tell myself, okay, this is happening. I'm going to try to fix it best I can while also not forcing it. And doing that from a calm mindset instead of not catching yourself when the spiral is about to start means everything. It means absolutely everything. So in that situation, I was like, okay, I don't think the car is about to start because my wheel had locked up and everything. I thought my wheel was just locked. Tried to start the shit, didn't start, wasn't working, wasn't going anywhere. So I was like, okay. First of all, this means absolutely nothing about my character. This means absolutely nothing about the rest of the day. First of all. Second of all, what do I do next? When you start with that first one, you can more correctly navigate your next steps because I promise you that nothing is going to go right when you immediately just start spiraling and you don't catch yourself. And when you're first starting out on shit like this, it's it's difficult. It's hard. Even before this law of assumption shit that I've just been learning recently, ever since like the beginning of the year, I have been working really hard to catch myself in the middle of panic attacks and be aware. That's not going to just automatically stop them, especially when you're not used to doing that. But I've been putting in the practice. It's going to take a while. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. Absolutely nothing to be ashamed of to feel your feelings. But It is important to be aware and practice and try, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. So, with that being said, me being able to calm myself in that moment informed the next correct actions. What do I do? Call my boyfriend immediately. Next, message the guy that I'm supposed to be delivering to. Next, still try to figure out the car shit right now. And so, after that, by the stroke of, I don't want to say, it's not a stroke of luck, but it's just like people, it just so happened to be the like cashier's fucking time to go dip and have a break while I was doing the thing outside. And so, they come and they're looking at me and they're like, you good? Like, are you cool? And, I just told them what was happening and they were like, oh shit, like, you know, come inside, get a drink or something. It's hot out here. So, I was like, okay, cool, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And so, yeah, I went to go inside, get a free drink in my times of trouble. And so I just sat in there, just waited for my boyfriend to come through, really. And while I'm speaking on that, it is also important to, when good things happen like that, revel in them. I was literally just watching someone who said that, but like that shit is really fucking important. When those small blessings do happen, small being a neutral thing, you want to congratulate yourself on them just as much as the past you reveled in negativity when it happened. Because again, you want to treat these things as like you want to like you have to treat them like you want them to continue to be in your life. It's just like a person. You want to treat the good thoughts nicely so that they continue, those things, those positive things continue to be in your life, essentially. Again, it's another way to look at, where your attention's at, because where your attention goes, something flows. I forget. Attention grows. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, it's where your attention grows, energy flows. So if you're paying extra attention on this positive thing, that's where the energy is going. If you're paying extra attention on the negative thing, that's where the energy is. Okay, so my mic died. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm projecting my voice in those hopes. But yeah. Attention goes where energy flows type shit. Um I guess I should finish my story. I've got like hella ADHD brain. But in terms of going from there, they gave me my free little drink. My boyfriend came through and he situated my situation and told me what I needed to do with my car. And so we planned to. He knew a guy who could fix my starter, and I was like, okay, cool. I have money left over for my car savings, so let's go. Initially, my boyfriend tells me my car might be like two something or whatever, like 200 something, off of his estimations, because his car costs more, and it was like 300 something, I think. His car costs more because, but from his assumption, it was a Miata, or he thought his car cost more because it's a Miata. My car is just a fucking Toyota Camry. I love my little Toyota Camry, but it's just a Toyota Camry. And so he's assuming it's just gonna be $200. So he goes and consults the guy, and he comes back to me, and he's like, "Hey, he's talking about like $300." So I'm like, okay. I don't particularly like that because I only had about 500 in car savings, and that's more than half of it. This immediately sparks off in my mind as something wrong, of course. But I, again, am attempting to keep positive, attempting to focus on, like, okay, this, again, it doesn't mean like the end of the fucking world. There's money everywhere. Money's always flowing to me. You know, those are the things I'm saying to myself. Like, it's not that bad as it seems. And so, that's just me keeping the positive. Then time goes on. He's like, hey, this guy is talking about charging you $428 for the repair. And I was like, oh, I don't really like that. And so, of course, like, I used to be prone to anxiety. I still get a little paranoid sometimes, but I used to be way more anxious than I am now. And so, like, immediately my bells rang off. Like, that's like almost everything. That's almost everything in my fucking savings. What the fuck? And still, even still, as the little trooper I am, I'm like, okay, this is what I have the savings for. This is what I've built so much for. If a big repair came in, I will be able to pay for it. And I have just enough. And those are the things you have to tell yourself to stay sane. And keep your composure. And keep the energy, your positive energy that you've been building up. So I'm like, okay, I go as far as to take my money out, count everything, making sure it's correct. And, you know, before I can get any more anxious, I'm just counting my money and I'm thanking it. I'm thanking my money. I'm counting it. I'm like, oh, I just want to say right now, money in my hands. Thank you. Money in my hands. I appreciate every single dollar bill going into taking care of my car. This is a blessing in my life. And hey, I need my car. This money will pay for to fix it so I can be safe on the road. Thank you. I appreciate this. Got my money out. And, you know, I just live the rest of my day as is. Just with that fact, those facts I told myself. Come the next day, in the morning, my boyfriend goes to work. So I didn't see him, but he texted me and he's like, hey, actually, like, I looked up the stuff for your car. That shit's so simple. I could do it. All you have to do is pay like under $200 for just like a starter kit and I'll fix it for you. I didn't even see that message that morning because I tried to look at my phone too early. And so he comes home. He's like, hey, he tells me what he texted me. And I'm like, oh, well, ain't that some shit? You know, like, so now I'm reveling in that. I'm reveling in it. I kept my composure. This is what you have to do. You have to keep your energy chill. Your nervous system has to be calm to attract what you want. Keep that shit calm. The things that you want will come to you. And sometimes when you least expect it. And I promise you, like, it will never go in vain. At least in my experience, it has never been in vain when I have just sat and just stayed positive. Because at the very least, even if you don't get exactly what you want, your nervous system is calm. Your body's calm. You're not feeling like shit all the time. Because you're not freaking out. Like, either way, it's a win-win for you. And when you freak out, it's not it's not doing anything. Like, in the spiritual sense, it's attracting more of those situations that you dislike. But in the physical world sense, freaking out is not doing anything for you. You're not gaining anything. It's not improving your life in any way. When you stay calm on the spiritual, it's you're attracting what you desire. You're attracting what you need. But even without that, on the physical sense, you actually feel better because your nervous system is not racked. And I know what a racked nervous system feels like. Trust me. Anyone in America can tell you what a racked nervous system feels like. Just thinking from that perspective. And not even to mention the other sets of like layers to the shit. I'm a black woman in America. So it's like, yeah, at the very least your nerves are not racked. You're able to operate in a way where your decisions are not based in anxiety and fear, because in my experience, going through that switch and seeing the differences does an absolute lot. I notice when I am moving in an anxious, fear-based mindset, shit will break. Quite literally, I will break shit because my mind is not all the way there for what is going on. When I'm calm, I'm able to pay attention to the present moment of what I'm doing and what's going on. But in terms of other things that I've learned when it comes to law of assumption and self-concept, it will feel weird. And you just have to practice in that weird feeling. Another thing for me is going through life just like with the thought process of I can literally do what I want. I am unrestricted. As long as I'm not hurting anyone overtly and like not being like careless, I can literally do anything I want. I am a free range human being on this planet that has the right to do what I want, and I don't have to listen to anyone else, and I don't have to follow the expectations that I believe other people have of me. And just like in general, there's so much to unlearn. I'm still unlearning a lot despite how far I've come. I just moved into a place outside of my parents' house like 2 months ago. So there's still so much I have to learn about just myself. And with that, what to let go. And it's a journey. It's a journey. This is a big, long, fat journey. And I feel like another thing is that when you're doing this with intention, when you're changing your mindset and intentionally changing your life, you have to look at it as a journey. And for me personally, it helps to look at it as a journey because there will come times for me personally, I'll feel like I fucked up. I'll feel like I did something wrong. I feel like I should have did this, I should have did that. Those are the kinds of things that you have to let go of if you want to follow your journey in the ultimate way that benefits you. Because a part of ascending in this journey is looking at mistakes and ultimately realizing, like, hey, it's not that big a deal. One of my favorite phrases to say when, like, I'm kind of like having an emotional reaction, I will allow myself emotional reactions. You must allow yourself those. But like, yeah, say something happens. Like the other day, I was trying to look for a piece of tape. A piece of tape. This piece of tape. On my dresser. I just moved, so I still have some boxes packed. And I ran through my closet looking for this one piece of tape, and it was in that spot the entire time. I got on the floor and I literally started, like, you know how, like, when a bug flips over on its back and all of the legs are going? That was me. Because I was like, what the actual fuck? This is so stupid. And I let myself do that for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I have it now, and none of this is real anyways. Sometimes you have to tell yourself shit like that. None of this is real anyways. Absolutely none of it. So, like, when you look at a mistake, when I think of mistakes, it makes me think of Christians thinking hell is real. Okay? Why would God really punish a human being for eternity over, like, something like being gay, when we only live on an average of 80 years? That shit just doesn't make sense. So, like, when you make a mistake, think about your lifespan. This video right here, your lifespan, make that a lot smaller. My fingers are touching. Your lifespan out of eternity, that one little mistake you did, is it really worth panicking and flipping out over for, like, over a day? You know? And I'm not talking like you off somebody. I'm talking like, you know, you made the wrong turn and, like, made people wait in line for something in traffic, or you know, you accidentally picked up the wrong thing at the store when someone really needed something else and, like, it was really important to them. Those things suck, but, like, nothing to beat yourself up over. And even with some bigger things, it's like, yes, you do want to self-reflect over fucked up shit you do, but, like, there's a big importance in ensuring that you don't take a lot of life too seriously. And when you do, you look at it as a lesson. Me personally, I love looking at just about everything as a lesson to teach me something. And that helps a lot in terms of making sure I don't have pity parties. And, you know, just being aware. In other news, when it comes to me learning about the law of assumption and self-concept and applying it to my life, I feel like there's definitely more thoughts I have, but I think I've squeezed out a good bit in this video. If I have some more insight, I will definitely come back with that. So far, I've been having a lot of fun. I feel like a baby playing with toys at the moment with my little law of assumption and self concept knowledge. But one day, I will be a professor in college, just like reciting my textbook from memory. But yeah, I hope you have a good day if you've watched this all so far. Me just yapping about on the camera for like, what, 40 minutes? And remember that you are the creator of your reality in every way, shape, and form.